Welcome to Soul Sister Stories, where we dive into profound journeys of spiritual awakening with inspiring women. I'm Rika Markel, your host on this journey. My passion is to empower you to tune into your soul's whispers by presenting you the stories of soul sisters who have dared to dream and live extraordinary lives while helping others doing the same.
Hi everyone, I'm here with a new episode of Soul Sister Stories, and today's guest is Heather, and I'm going to have to peek, Fillmore. Heather Fillmore is my guest, and I met Heather about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, not even longer, when she had an interview with David Bingham. People that are on my channel, they know who David Bingham is and what my experience was with David Bingham. But Heather, she jumped out for me. It was like, oh my God, what a powerhouse. Who is that woman? So I wanted to know. And so I'm very, very excited to have her on the show because she really fits right in. So Heather, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And I would love you to just introduce yourself. Who is Heather Fillmore? Tell our guests.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And that's a pretty loaded question. Who am I?
That's
I
wonderful.
am here today just to be kind of a mentor or show up in my authentic self to tell you that everybody can be infinite love and infinite intelligence. And I am a healer. I am here to make a difference, to definitely make a difference in people's lives. I do a very profound healing that came through about 15 years ago through a language that I only learned recently what it was. And so it allows me to go over the years, allows me to raise my frequency, to do very profound healings in the body.
And so you say like 15 years ago, so it wasn't always your story. Like on our show, we have different kind of people, but I used to categorize them like in two piles, the people that are born knowing they had a spiritual identity and they were on that spiritual seeking path their whole life, or the people that had like a profound experience. They were nothing spiritual before that, but all of a sudden lightning hits and their life is changing. So, and then we have the combination of both, but which
Yeah.
pile are you in? What's your story?
Both, both. I was born very intuitive. I was born very hypersensitive. I remember at a very young age having just extreme migraines, which I later learned that very young, that when you're a young child having migraines, because I didn't have them when I got older, just very young, it's their third eye opening. So I came into this world very sensitive, and I mean, like, I felt the world was very harsh, and my environment was a little bit, unsettling. And like I said, as a sensitive person, I just took it all on. And I remember saying on David Bingham, like Ted Bingham, like I'd pee to bed. I was just very scared of the world. I thought it was very harsh. And so as I went along, I knew things. I was very intuitive, and my journey had led me to many places. It's almost like I was meant to go to all these different places to gain the wisdom, okay, to see how everything really in the world operates. And I didn't like any of it. And I had different jobs, and they put me in situations where I go, oh my gosh, I don't like that. And I would challenge it. And then I'd either get fired or I'd leave. And one particular job was a theological school. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is where I will find God, because, I was like, oh, all the places I've been, I can't, this quest to find God, like, where's God? I'm sure I'll find God at a theological school. And I went there, and I think that was part of the journey where I'm like, wow, God is not outside of ourselves. And there was an incident, and I stood up for myself and everybody else because somebody was being a bully who was supposed to be a leader. And in the end, they fired me. And they fired me because they said I was too fragile. And really, see, you know how David says everything's inverted,
Yeah.
right? But really, they fired me with severance and a gag order. So like I was speaking up. I was saying, like, the truth is, like this is not love. This is fear. Like, and it's affecting me, and everybody is afraid. It's like leading, with an authority that's like just fear-based. Okay, like, oh, I am the leader and you do as I say. And so I just, that didn't really feel so good to me. And I go down to the chapel at the theological school and just like go, hey God, like, where are you? Like, this doesn't feel good to me. And and so I was bumped out of there because that wasn't good for me. So I've always known that I was supposed to be some sort of a seeker, healer of truth. Okay. And so the language came through 15 years ago when I was singing karaoke, and it has changed my life. I didn't know what it was. I was just singing away out of tune like I always do. And it just came through, like, all these words. And at the time, I was with my husband, who has since passed away, and I'd say, oh my gosh, like, did you hear that? And he'd say, no. And so I'm like, okay, never mind. So I get off, stop singing, and it would come through. And then it kept coming through. And then it wasn't the quest to find God. It was the quest to find out, what the heck am I speaking? Yeah. So I went
Were you scared in any way? Was there anything, like, it's not a common, I don't know anybody else who has, like, I'm not saying people that channel, but this is like a language that comes through. It's like even a little bit different. Some people start channeling, but they still speak the language that they understand. So now you are speaking something you don't know what it is. So how did that feel?
I wasn't scared. Like, I knew I wasn't scared of it, because when I spoke it, it felt warm. Like, it felt warm, but not to me, but to everybody else was the thing. Like, everybody's like, what are you speaking? Like, that's just craziness and all this stuff. And, went to many different people. They told me many different things, including, I went back to the church, like, you're speaking in tongues, but this is what you have to do. Like, one of the ministers there told me that, do you do yoga? Do you do any of these practices? You have to stop. They're all demonic. And no, it's actually true. So, and then they said, is there anybody you haven't forgiven? Like, you have this gift now, so you have to forgive everybody. And at the time, I was still having my experiences, and I mean, I could make a list of people unforgiven, like, that weren't very nice, but helped me on my journey. So I said, no, I haven't come to the forgiveness temple yet. So what does this mean? Like, am I thrown out? Do I lose my tongues or language, whatever this is? And anyway, I didn't go back. And because I don't believe forgiveness is, oh my God, okay, they hurt me, I forgive them. I don't even like the word forgiveness, because I think forgiveness is about you just processing all the emotions. And as Jesus says, forgive them, for they know what they do, and really come to a level of self-awareness that this is not about you. But that takes a lot of awareness, okay, in healing, like, just a lot of healing to know, okay. So yes, it was only when I went on David's show, it had been 2 weeks before the interview that I found out what it was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. It's very cool. And, it's like, what I think is so interesting is the idea that we all have a gift. We all have a talent. And for some people, it's very obvious, like in your case, this language come true. You cannot deny it. This is happening. And so it's there. But there are other people, and I think I'm one of those, where it's less out there. And most people, it's less out there. Like, what is my talent? What is my gift? What is my gift to the world? What is it that I have to cultivate? Like, what is it that, and so I think you learn what that is by going inside, by listening to your soul and to know your truth. Like, and that's why I love how your website is called, like, and so you can maybe tell us a little bit about that. But the truth is not about the truth, which is of course part of it, but it's also our truth. What is my truth? What is your truth? And how can I be authentic, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. We are so intuitive. It's the source of our madness because most choices are motivated by like a determination to repress intuitive feedback. Okay, it's because of survival, because of our fear. We hear it, like it could be a small voice, and we hear it, but we're so afraid to lose love that we block it out.
Yeah.
Okay, not knowing that we are love, like we're infinite love and infinite intelligence.
Yeah.
You know, and once we start, you know, healing and understanding this concept, then that is when our gifts come forth. And they don't have to be, oh my gosh, I'm speaking this language, oh, I channel this and that. It can just be showing up in your presence.
Yeah.
You know, in your God self, which I say that I keep God very simple too. God is your awareness of being that connects you to all that is, has been, and ever will be. That's source.
Yeah. And it's also like I met you in David's Bingham's world, which is the world of non-duality. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in the non-duality world, they will, in my opinion, sometimes go a little bit on the too far on one side. We are spiritual beings, but we do have a body, a mind,
Yeah.
and so we are living this 3D life in that body mind. And so when you say, well, we are those infinite beings, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to go to, there's nothing happening, that's for me very difficult to accept, although I do understand where it's coming from because I lived that life. But also, most people don't live that life and they're still seeking to like that fulfillment, that feeling of the truth. You know what I mean? And I always will go back to this truth because once you know the truth, once you know who you really are, then life becomes such a joy, no matter what it is that is going on.
That's a very good point because you know that's how we got into this mess in the first place, extremism, you know.
Yeah.
Right? Extremism, one side or the other, or yes, like you know, unless you're some monk on a mountaintop not interacting with other people, then it's very hard, it's very hard sometimes, you know, because you're not in relationship. Because let's face it, life is relationships. We get wounded in relationship, and we heal in relationships. That's how we find out who we are, not, you know, getting out of the world. Because, you know, as they say, we're in this world, but not of this world.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to learn how to be who we are in the world and see interacting with humans and having fun and enjoying life is all about that interaction. Who comes in, like who helps us on our path, who triggers us, who helps us heal our wounds, who helps us ascend. It's
Yeah.
but you know, we have to learn how to navigate this, and we have to learn who you know doesn't serve us well. And you know, as they say, we give people chances and we let, but sometimes too many, as I've learned. So you have to kind of fine tune that too. Okay.
Yeah.
I keep things very simple in my practice, if you will, and that is just show up. You know, and when I do my healing work, I bring you to the present moment. And when people are done, everything feels very different because
Yeah.
some people think they're doing well, and they are. However, they're still running with anxiety, and they're not being, they're doing, because people equate busyness to self-worth, because that is what we've been programmed to do, you know.
Yeah.
And then like you said, when people go to the other end, it's like, I don't have to do anything, I just have to sit right here, it's all gonna come to me.
Just be.
That's not
And
true
it,
either.
yeah. And it's interesting because when you start listening to that guidance, listening to that truth inside of you, not the truth that everybody tells you, but your truth, like you, and you start listening to that. And in the beginning, it's like a very, I call it a whisper, and then it becomes louder and louder. And for me, like when I went, people that are following me, they know I went on a large road trip in Europe in my RV, and I was like really meditating a lot and contemplating. And so one of the things that I asked the universe, like, what is my next step, what is it that I need to do next? And I was thinking now it's gonna come, because I was like extremely excited, because I was like, on my spiritual path, what is next? And I didn't even share this yet with anybody, but what came was, you're gonna have to take care of your body. And I'm like, what? what
Yes.
what is that? Like, if there is anything I don't want to do, it's like, I'm not the fitness kind of guy or go for runs, or I just am, never did that. I'm like, gardening is probably the closest you get me to working out. And then you came, because it was part of my healing. And I'm like, do I need something from outside of me to like heal me? But it came because it was an answer to my question. And that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we're so into our framework, our story. Like in my case, I don't need to take care of my body, because I am, I meditate and I'm healthy, and I know that I'm healthy. But it's not only that. So now, and then you came, and then we had a couple of sessions, and you cleaned up a lot, which I could have never been able, probably I could have if I took another couple of lifetimes. But now it was like, this was what my soul needed in this moment, because I listened to it, and I wasn't tunnel vision on, no, 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 I'm meditate, I'm healthy, I don't need this. So this is also what I would encourage people to feel when they're listening to you. Why is this person on my journey? Why am I listening to Heather? And what is Heather what can she open up for me? Because the fact that you're here and listening to us, to this conversation, you need to understand there's something in here for you. So what is this? What is this? Why am I listening to this? Is it triggering me? Maybe you say, oh my God, such BS. Trust me, there's a lot in there for you. Or you can say, oh my God, I feel really inspired. There's also a lot in there for you. That doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that that's also how you see the world, because that's just the truth.
Yeah. And really, it's all those things. And if we could put it right down to this tiny, it's energy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a frequency.
Yeah.
Something is hauling you in. In life, you go see speakers or you hear people talk, and what they're saying is great, but there's something about some people that that they're living it. Do you know, they're not just empty words. It's just like love. Like, as I've gone through life and attracted mates and stuff, what they say, okay, that took me in, but then the energy of it was like, no, they're empty words. I've heard a lot of empty words. And yeah, so it is a frequency. It's a frequency.
And I want to go a little bit deeper in what exactly is it when you do a healing? How does that work?
Okay, so the language. I mean, maybe I'm not sure if we have time to get into how I learned about the language, but the language I discovered a month ago. Time just goes. So I'm just going to say about a month ago, I learned that it was Aramaic, because I asked Spirit after 15 years, I want to know. People always ask me, what is it? And I didn't know, and thought people told me what they thought it was. And it didn't resonate, but I just kept going along, because in the spiritual world, you got to give them something. And light language is the is the new fashion trend. And I'm not saying it's not real. It is. Like, light language is real, but mine didn't feel like that. So what I speak is Aramaic. It is an ancient language, and to name drop, but it is a language that Jesus spoke. And feel so good to say this, because for so long I wouldn't really say a whole lot about what it was. I just would say, I don't know. I'm not one to show up and say, oh yeah, like, I'm speaking, this language that Jesus spoke. Like I actually do, but many people speak it and don't even know they're speaking it. Okay. So when I learned this, it just kind of, I was still doing my same healings, but something happened. The frequency raised even more. Like, and someone once said to me, well, does it make a difference that you found out that you need to know? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. But just say you found out you were adopted. Okay. Would you want to know? Some part of you want to know who your real parents are? Or would you just be okay just knowing that beautiful people raised you?
Yeah.
There's something like when I say awakening the truth, I'm not one to say at the surface. I would drown at the shallow end of the pool. Okay. I would drown. So I need to go real deep and say, okay. So when this language does come through, it has a frequency. Okay. And so it elevates me. And then spirit talks to me when I'm in session with somebody and tells me, where to steer the conversation. And if somebody's going off a little more, my language will kick in, chop. And I make sure in the beginning I say, this is not disrespect. I just, we all have a story, but when does it end? Okay. I really, you're probably tired of hearing yourself say your story and your trauma. Is like, let's just cut. And that's basically what I do. There's no, I am empathetic, but I don't keep people in victim mentality. They've been there way too long. Okay. So it's time to just cut. So then I go into their field, energy field, and I see a lot. I see a lot in the brain. I see, like, everything is in symbolism. Sometimes it just will take me right to their organs. What's going on with your organs? Oh my gosh, they're not breathing. Like, I know if somebody's broke their nose. I know if somebody's been punched in the face by abuse. Sometimes it will tell me and sometimes it won't. Because, if it's a certain person who will overthink it, spirit won't tell me, because this is not about the mind anymore. Okay. This is just about letting go of all that and just healing. Okay. Letting go of all this energy that's stuck. Okay. And the impact of it, like that's the thing. People will have, sessions and talk therapy and yoga and all kinds of things. But if you don't go in and clear energetically what's going on, it's very hard. And that's the frustration I find with the people that I see. It's like, well, I do this and this and this, and something's stuck. I don't just, and sometimes they go crazy thinking this is all my head. I'm doing everything right. I'm eating right. I really love validating them, saying, no, intuitively, something's not okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing all this, and the same with what you said about the body, eating right. Like, it's interesting, physical healing, because attunement within the body produces healing. We know it. Energy, right?
It's all energy. It all comes down to the same thing. It's so wonderful. Like, really, it's amazing how everything comes together. Like, it is the body, the mind, the spirit, the whole of everything. And see, the dog says we're right.
I know. I was.
I'm so happy about that. Like,
Kelly's like, yes,
yeah.
Mom, just say it.
It's so funny. It's so funny. And you're doing those sessions. People can find you on the website. I will definitely post that website link down the video. It's amazing to me that what could have, like, we did like one session, very short. Like, I was so lucky. Things are happening. I saw your video with David Bingham the same day we had a session, because somebody canceled and I could fit in, and it was all like, and that's when I knew that this was supposed to happen. And so a lot of things happened inside of me, which was very wonderful. And so I would recommend it to everybody, because it is true. Like, there are certain, as much as my story is to believe that I don't need all that stuff and I can just get over it, like, whatever, because it's just a story and it's just my body and I can believe whatever I want to believe. there is also the reality of living in a body. It's like a car, I always, like, I can say my car is driving, but if there is a piece missing in my car, or there is no oil that is running through the whole thing, it's not going to drive. And so I can say, well, with my mind, I can just make the car drive, which is probably true, but that might take me a couple more lifetimes. So why not just cut through the chase and get some help? You know what I mean?
Well, that was perfect the way you described that, because if energy doesn't flow, energy doesn't inform. Okay.
Yeah. And you're not creating what you're supposed to create if it's not flowing, and you're stuck. You're just stuck. All right. So is there one more thing, because we're going to wrap it up? And so, is there one more thing that you would like to leave our listeners with?
I want to give your listeners a healing. Okay.
Oh, wow.
A healing with the heart chakra for all the people, you out there who, just feel closed off, because, I say open hearts bring open conversations, and closed hearts bring fear. And with fear comes justification. Okay. So I want everybody out there just open up their hearts. Okay. And doing this, I want my Aramaic language will come through, and we'll just do a healing of the heart.
I'm up for that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Just relax into this.
Aretoria kamahana ashawi ashawi ashawi.
I could feel it in every fiber of my body. It's really nice. This is cool, but definitely listen again to this. It's very beautiful. Thank you so much, Heather. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everybody. I'm still like I'm just enjoying the blissful energy that I feel going through my body right now because of the heart opening. It's really beautiful. And thank you so much, Heather. Really, it's very impactful. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. This was another episode of Soul Sister Stories. And so I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day. And thank you again, Heather, for being here on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. If our journey today resonated with you, please consider subscribing and liking this video to support our growing community. For more insights and resources, be sure to check the links in the description below. They're filled with valuable information and support to guide you on your spiritual path. Remember, your soul's journey is unique and magnificent. Stay connected, keep exploring, and let's continue this journey together in our next episode. Until then, keep listening to the whispers of your soul and embrace the life of your dreams.